4 hours a day. That's how much time Grace spent scrolling through crisis after crisis, outrage after outrage, before she looked up and realized something profound. She'd become a spectator in the world rather than a participant. She said, I could tell you everything wrong with the world, but I couldn't remember the last time I felt truly present in it. Sound familiar? Grace's story, it's not unique. What she did next might just change how you think about your own relationship with that screen in your hand. Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Andrew Smith. I'm a psychologist, professor. I work with college students, young professionals, veterans, first responders, healthcare workers. I've spent years really studying resilience and social connection and worldview formation, and how experiences of connection and purpose are really foundational for human thriving. Through my research and my role as a co founder in Rewire, I've developed approaches that help people like you shift from feeling overwhelmed to finding genuine meaning, not by diagnosing what's wrong with you, but by reconnecting you with what actually matters. Today, I'm going to share Grace's story because it might just be like yours. It's like a lot of people's. There are 6 points that I'll be covering today. Number one, how a high functioning college student got caught in the scrolling trap. Not uncommon. Part two, the hidden cost that nobody warned her about. Part three, the simple but powerful shift that changed everything for Grace. Part four, specific actions that reconnected Grace to what really mattered. Part five, what her life looks like now. And part six, how you can apply the same principles starting today. So let's start with part one, the high functioning disconnect trap. Grace at 21 is smart, capable, involved. Classes, part time job, social circle, and like most of you, a phone that never stops buzzing. From the outside, she's handling it all, but inside, it's a different story. She says things like, I started to believe that maybe the world was just broken, or that maybe I should stop trying so hard to care. This isn't laziness or ignorance. Grace is doing what we're all told to do, staying informed, staying connected, but something's not adding up. Each headline, each comment section, each crisis streamed directly to her phone, and each one reinforced the same message. Things are bad, they're getting worse. There's not much you can do about it. Does this sound familiar? It should. And things are tough and bad right now in many ways. You are living through, in the midst of this as well, the greatest attention capture experiment in human history. And it plays on emotion and motivation systems biologically. Nobody prepared you for it because the world hasn't seen it before. Part two, the cost nobody warned you about. Here's what makes this trap so effective. It masquerades as engagement. You think you're staying informed and connected and aware when actually you're being systematically disconnected from your own agency. Grace tracked her screen time and discovered she was spending nearly 4 hours daily consuming content that left her feeling worse. That's not casual usage, that's a part time job dedicated to feeling bad. The real cost, it's not just time, it's what psychologists call learned helplessness. This gradual belief that your actions don't matter, that beyond your small bubble, you can't affect anything meaningful. Here's the truly insidious part. When this mindset sets in, disengagement starts to feel like wisdom, like you're the one smart one who gets it, that everything's falling apart and caring too much is for naive people. This isn't just apathy, it's a defense mechanism. If you expect the worst, you can't be disappointed. Grace was nearly there, but instead of giving in, she took one step in another direction when a friend invited her to participate in Rewire. Part three, the shift from passive consumer to active creator. Grace's first realization was simple but profound. What she was consuming her. She was a product, not a creator. So she started with an information diet. First, moving social media apps off her home screen, ideally eventually to her computer and off of her phone altogether. Second, she set up a specific 30-minute window to check the news. She also we worked on mindfulness, starting to notice when the urge to scroll hit her and what craving surfing looked like, what it meant to resist the compulsion to do that. Replacing automatic scrolling then with an intentional action. At first, Grace said, it felt like I was unplugging from the world. But eventually, I started realizing I was plugging back into my life. There's this chasm that Grace had to cross where she was uncomfortable for a time. But that chasm was really anxiety and addiction speaking. And this isn't about digital abstinence or some kind of Ludditism. It's about recognizing that your attention is valuable and directing it with intention rather than surrendering to algorithms designed to maximize your anxiety and outrage for profit is a good idea. Creating space was just the beginning for Grace. The next question was space for what? So we have to replace that with something. So, part 4, finding direction, using values as a compass. The challenge of being your age right now or in this trap right now isn't just information overload, it's navigating endless possibilities with minimal guidance. So for Grace, clarifying her values actually became a practical compass that clarified and shrunk the choices for her. She identified 5 that deeply resonated: compassion, growth, authenticity, friendship, community. Now I can almost hear some of you thinking, great, more abstract concepts that don't actually help me to know what I'm supposed to do tomorrow. Fair enough. But here's where it gets practical. Grace didn't just identify these values, she translated them into specific actions. So, part 5, small actions for real impact. For her compassion value, Grace started tutoring a freshman struggling in class. One of the classes that she had nearly failed herself. 1 hour weekly, helping someone navigate something she understood intimately. For her growth value, she began documenting what she was learning, not for class, but for herself. What conversations changed her thinking, what mistakes taught her something. This practice helped her to see her own evolution, for her to reorganize around what it meant to struggle as a growth opportunity instead of information confirming her fragility or something like that. Value number 3, for authenticity, she had that conversation with a roommate that she'd been avoiding for months, not through passive aggressive hints, but direct communication about needs and boundaries and roles. Value 4, for friendship, she instituted Sunday night dinners, phones away, just good food and real conversation. She said it felt awkward at first, but we're both so used to half paying attention while scrolling, but now it's the highlight of both of our week. She did this with a friend. And value 5, for community, she volunteered at a local garden 2 hours each weekend. The combination of physical work, being outdoors, and connecting with diverse people gave her exactly the perspective shift she needed. None of these actions were extraordinary. None of them are particularly time consuming, but together they create a different feedback loop, one where connection leads meaning, which leads to more connection. Part 6, where grace is now progress, not perfection, never perfection. Let's be clear, Grace doesn't transform overnight into someone who never feels anxious or never checks social media. She still has tough days. She still sometimes falls into a scrolling spiral, but now she has tools to notice when it's happening, pathways back to what matters. Her life has tangible anchors. Remember, weekly dinners with a roommate, Sunday morning walks with a neighbor, regular check-ins with her younger brother, a community garden where people know her name. She told me, I used to feel like the world didn't have space for me, but now I'm making space by being the kind of person I used to wish I had around me, instead of waiting for other people to become that. This is perhaps the most powerful shift in Grace's story. She moves from waiting for the world to make her feel better to actively creating the kind of experience that she wants, both for herself and other people. Here's what I want you to take away from Grace's story. It's never going to be about perfection or removal of anxiety, and it's not about never scrolling again or pretending that the world's problems don't exist. It's about reclaiming your agency in a system designed to make you feel powerless and capture your attention and your willpower and your motivation. This generation is navigating challenges no previous one has faced, with unprecedented access to information but diminishing access to wisdom and people. The platforms you use daily are engineered to maximize your engagement through outrage and anxiety, not to help you live a meaningful life. But you don't have to accept that as your default state. Try Grace's approach. Try the Rewire approach. Track where your attention's actually going. Set boundaries around information consumption. Identify values that genuinely resonate with you. Take one small action aligned with those values this week. It takes genuine courage to choose connection in a world optimized for distraction, to hope for restorative communities, to text a friend when scrolling's easier, show up somewhere in person when streaming's more convenient, to have a conversation without checking your phone. These choices, they might seem small, but they're not. In a world designed to fragment your attention and isolate you in bubbles of content, choosing connection is a radical act. Remember, it's not weak to hope, it's not foolish to build, it's not naive to care about real people and tangible purpose in a world that's forgotten how. In fact, it might be the most powerful choice you can make. It's countercultural. I'd love you to subscribe to the channel. Visit rewirewellness.co. Join this movement around centering on values instead of letting anxiety and addictive habits form our lives in ways that take our meaning and purpose away. We'll talk soon.